This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. And now, let's check in and see if CHARLEY-K1GZL is on frequency to bring us up to date on the latest 40-meter band propagation. Charlie's QTH is up north in northern New Hampshire, near the Canadian border. Charlie, got a copy?
Yes, Jim. Jim, 9 and 9 plus direct. 9 and 9 plus direct, very good signal. It's partially sunny and the temperature out is 5.3 after a low of 43 with fog and drizzle earlier this morning. And you're very, very good copy. Yes, 40 meters was good. Just give you a couple seconds of being northwest of Melbourne. Wait a minute.
The next noise here that it was last night. We got a bit of a storm brewing here at the moment. I don't think it'll be a serious one, but we will get some rain in the next 24 hours. You over here, Mike, WA30 and company, Kilo 3, Mike Oscar.
Okay, now I've got something very interesting for you there. Jim, if you're copying okay, KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie. Well, I'm waiting, boy. I bet it. I can't fathom what it is, but I'm sure I'll be surprised. Go ahead, Charlie.
I'm sure I'll be surprised. Go ahead, Charlie. Okay. If you'll remember back more than a year or so ago, I was telling you about the phone patches. The phone patches I used to run into the Antarctic, down toward down to the South Pole, and this was all on 40 meters here, right here on 40, but a little bit higher up in the band than we are here, but not by much. A little bit higher up. I think it was somewhere around 14,250 or so. But anyway, we used to get at night a group of stations on frequency, and each one of these stations would have a list. Of people in the various stations down in the Antarctic. Now, for instance, Bird Station in those days was KC4 Uncle Sugar Baker. Longwire Station was outside of Bird, KC4 Alpha Alpha Denmark. Palmer Station, Uncle Sugar Peter. Pole Station was KC4 USN. Now it's KC4 AAA or AAA, and McMurdo Sound, KC4 Uncle Sugar Victor. Now, we used to run phone patches because in those days we did not have the use of satellites back 47 years ago, and some of these phone patches were really memorable, were incredibly memorable, and I'll tell you about one particular one that for the South Pole, and in other words, I would get on and say, or actually they would say down there at the pole, Charlie, we'd like to run patch number 17 today. 17, and I'd look at my list and I would see that was, Leo and Alice Durrell. And Alice worked at the Mass General Hospital, and Leo was down at the South Pole. Now, when that phone patch occurred, as many people that were not working would rush over to listen to Alice and Leo talking, and I'll tell you why. It would all start out, and Leo would come on at the pole where it was about 100 degrees Fahrenheit below zero. There at 9,000 feet above sea level at the geographic South Pole, and Leo would get on and say a few words and turn it over and then say over, and then it was Alice's turn to transmit, and she would come on and say, "Oh, Leo, it's so good to hear you. It's wonderful." However, I do need help here. I do need help with the garage. It's falling apart, and the mower is broken down, and it's just I'm having trouble with my insurance company, this company, and that, blah, 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 and it's awful. Over to you. Over. Then Leo comes back and says, yes, dear, and then she comes back and says, well, I've got a few more items here, and then she goes through a long list of what's going on, and then she says, over, and Leo said, yes, dear, however, dear, I do have to say something. I have decided to ship over, or at least I'm thinking seriously about shipping over for another 4 years. And then he said, over to you, Alice, over, and she came back, Leo, you can't do that, I need you, we've got to fix the garage, the basement is leaking badly, and my neighbor's trees are hanging over the property, I've got to get that fixed, and Leo, I need you back here. You've got to mow the cat's back. Over. Then there was dead silence. And then Leon did not. He didn't come back. Jim K1GZL. There you be.
Roger, suddenly there was large atmospheric conditions that prevented him from hearing what all the laundry list of things that she needed him to do. Is that a Roger?
In other words, she was so persistent. Every time she was on, she had this long list, of things that Leo had to do. And then Leo made and these are true names. And this was probably about 1972 or 3, so you can see how far back this was. But then he got to the point, and everybody is there, hanging on to the shack, the radio shack at the South Pole, wondering, what's next? And Leo thought he might be a little bit better off if he wasn't exactly up north this far. Go ahead.
Roger. Well, I found it most interesting in two-way communications that you can always come up with a circumstance of deniability, bad conditions, all kinds of problems that could befall the communications when you don't want to hear something, Roger.
Oh, yeah, Roger, but I'll tell you, Jim, that's, I'd come home from work, get on the air at midnight and work these stations down there. I might be dead tired, but when Alice got on the line, boy, did I wake up. Go ahead.
Oh, Roger that. Now, I remember, I think there was a hurricane or something that was prevailing down in the islands, and I thought I might be able to run some phone patches, so I got out the old phone hybrid and got it oiled up and everything, and checked out, and it was working great. And then come time to do it, and I was going to do it with the power amp on, and man, I hit that power amp and everything went crazy. And I just found out you couldn't run a KW with a phone patch circuit. I couldn't anyway. Did you guys run a lot of power with your phone patches?
Yeah, there was no problem at all. When I was running those patches, I had an SB220, I believe it was. I may have had another rig, but I don't more than 700 watts. 100 watts, but I never had orange, none whatsoever. Go ahead.
Roger, Roger. Well, I guess I just hadn't set it up with the power on. That was my mistake. And that's, that's the thing. If you're going to do something, you should try to have all the circumstances in play so you know exactly what's going to happen when you do it, Roger.
What's going to happen when you do it, Roger?
Oh, yeah, Roger. No doubt about that. No doubt about it there. And, I would, actually, I had a work, and I got off at midnight, and I rushed home 14 miles from Auburn. 14 miles from Auburn, Maine. Of course, I was doing these from Maine, north of Portland, Maine, about 20 miles, and I would rush home. But before I left for work, I would check everything out and make sure it was working. But those patches, I'd run them from just a short few minutes after midnight, and I'd run them right until 6 o'clock in the morning. 6 o'clock in the morning. Then we had other stations on frequency, as an example, Jerry, who's passed away, WHAS from Washington House, Ohio. And he used phase vertical, and I said, I asked him, what station are you hearing better? He said, well, I'm hearing Palmer station better, KC4USP. So then he would ask Palmer if he was copying Jerry W886R, and he would say yes, and they'd find another frequency and run them. So we'd be about 4 or 5 stations on different frequencies right here on 40 running phone patches, because in those days, Jim, we did not have the availability of any satellites at all. Go ahead.
Oh, Roger, now I have a question for you. That phone patch equipment that you were using, would that happen to have been one of those Heathkit phone patch pieces of equipment?
I don't remember exactly, but it strikes me you may be correct. You might be correct. But I don't have any phone patch facilities here at the moment. But I do think you may be right on the Heathkit. Go ahead.
Roger. I think they were probably about the only ones that were really making in mass quantity that device. I know I've had two through the years, and they always worked fairly well, except in where you had great deals of power, and then you would have wind up with me personally, RF in the AF, and kind of defeat the whole purpose. Well, Charlie, that's very interesting. I thank you for sharing that with us. And gosh, the weather doing all right up that way?
Yeah, it's really cooled off. Jim. It's now partly sunny. The sun just came out, and it's in the low 50s, about 3 degrees. And I don't think the high today will be over 54 or 5. But the valley tonight will have some frost. We'll have some scattered frost, but I'm not in the valley. I'm up in the high country, just over 2,000. By the way, here's how you sound.
Personally, RF in the AF, and kind of defeat the whole purpose. Well, Charlie, that's very interesting. I thank you for sharing that with us. Gosh, the weather doing all right up that way?
Okay, so Jim, I'll try to catch you next Friday. We'll catch you next Friday, and I certainly hope you all stay there and all over the planet. Boy, what is going on these days is incredible. KC9VKV, and thank you for letting me come aboard K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie. Three's up that way, sir. Roger. This is KC9VKV and the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. And we're recording now live till 5, so if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout. KC9VKV listening.